Will Brinson, senior NFL writer, CBSSports.com, is joining us to talk about preseason week number 2. Gosh, it's almost over, Will.
Yeah, I mean, the beauty of the preseason now, and even more so when we get to 18 games, which we're going to get to.
Of course.
We've talked about this ad nauseum. But the beauty is, like, it gets done kind of quick now. You know, that first week in that Hall of Fame game, you're like, oh, whoa, football on TV. You bang out week 1, there's not a whole lot going on. And, you know, by the time that college football's gearing up, you know, we're wrapping up the preseason. And, you know, I don't know. I kind of like I didn't think I would like the flow of it as much, but I do like the flow of the 3 weeks. And the less preseason, the better. Although we can certainly learn, you know, some things about some teams and some players over the course of the stretch leading up to the year. I
mean, a number of things just off of that answer or that comment from you. I don't know if it was really much of a question. It wasn't really a question at all. I was just commenting that it's almost over. In that, because like some teams are actually putting their players out there, right? The Panthers are not. The Jets did not. You could argue the Jets played less of their roster than the Panthers did, because I think the Jets have a deeper roster than the Panthers, and the Jets played nobody. I think they played like 2 guys who might be on there too deep. Out of the in their entire game. But we do see Patrick Mahomes on the field doing crazy things. We have seen, dynamite stuff from the Bears and Caleb Williams. The Pittsburgh Steelers are playing out in real time what amounts to a legitimate quarterback competition. I think I say
I'd call it legitimate, but it is a quarterback competition.
Well, yeah. I mean, if it's...
I know what you mean. You mean it in the sense that they are competing for the starting job. I just mean that both of them, both Justin Fields and Russell Wilson. I mean, Russ looks washed.
Yeah.
On the third straight team, he looks washed. And Fields, obviously there's a whole bit out there about whether there were, 2 high safeties sitting back waiting for him to throw the ball to the wide open receiver. But I mean, Fields doesn't look. Fields. Just to dive into that one, like specifically, I mean, I'm getting killed by Steelers fans because I in my projected the Brinson model, patent pending, a high level algorithm designed to predict how the NFL season will go. Had the Steelers going 6-11, people are like, Mike Tomlin won't win. Like, that won't happen. It can't happen. We're the Steelers. It's like, well, be that as it may, and the fact that they did, go 9-8 with Kenny Pickett, I understand the concern here, but when you're watching these 2 quarterbacks, and then you add in, like Matt Canada was terrible, but Arthur Smith, he just like Jalen Warren's hurt.
Yeah,
the offensive line is better. I mean, there's just a lot of questions on offense for the Steelers, and when you put yourself into a position like that, it becomes very similar to the Falcons last year, where you don't have good quarterback play, you are relying on running the ball and playing defense. And when you do that, you inherently make it riskier for yourself because you're condensing the variance into like these end of game situations.
Right.
You better be able to pull off a bunch of them, or else you're not going to win football games.
See, here's the thing. I was going to mock my own comment. Will Brinson is joining us about it's a quarterback competition. Because essentially the way Wilson has played versus the way Fields has played, even though Justin hasn't been great, he has at least shown the ability to make more plays. But I wouldn't be shocked at all if we got to week 1 and Wilson was still named the starting quarterback, which would sort of point to the fact that it wasn't really a competition.
I think that what Mike Tomlin and Arthur Smith are going to want from this quarterback, the starting quarterback, is protect the football, and
right.
if it comes down to less explosive and athletic and, interesting from performance perspective, as in like Russell Wilson is boring and just throwing to running backs and tight ends and, occasionally taking a deep shot to George Pickens, they're going to take that over Justin Fields running around like crazy and potentially coughing the ball up, I think.
I want to get into this. First of all, the Patrick Mahomes behind the back pass, which by all accounts, was by design.
Not according to Patrick Mahomes' account.
Yeah, but I think the way Andy Reid's talking about it is that now it's on tape, and people are going to have to remember that he can do that, which I would think that after watching Patrick Mahomes for now however many years, we would just assume that he could throw the ball with his feet. So it really wouldn't matter.
Like defenses are like, all right, just be careful. Watch out for the behind-the-back pass instead of the 80-yard bomb to Xavier Worthy because he's the fastest 40 in combine history. Like, oh no, watch out for the little 2-yard. I mean, it is something that they can incorporate, just like the little goal line shoves that they do and the little foot passes they do around the goal line. But it's something that's on tape, but it's not something I think they really have to worry about.
So, if we're seeing Patrick Mahomes play, and Josh Allen has played, and Brock Purdy played behind a nothing offensive line last night, which was kind of a curious decision for me because he took some shots yesterday. I'm not really sure what Kyle Shanahan, his thought process is there. Do you think it matters at all that the Panthers have not shown anything with their starters at all in the preseason?
So I think with the preseason stuff, it's very philosophical coach to coach. And, Sean McVay, for instance, doesn't play anybody in the preseason. Now, small exception this year, Jordan Whittingham, looks like he could be their number 3 wide receiver. If Demarcus Robinson, solid veteran, but Whittingham could possibly supplant him, has looked awesome. And so he's a rookie, he's playing, but that's just philosophically what he does. Andy Reid has geared up guys in the preseason. It used to be almost nothing in the first game, quarter in the second game, like a half in the third game. And it's just sort of how Andy Reid just has this plan in place. He adjusted it when we moved to 3 preseason games, and he's done that since then. Now, I can't speak definitively for Dave Canales' plan, but it sure seems to me like he's thinking, okay, I've got a finite number of bodies that can help me win football games this year, and I'm not putting them out there in meaningless games. The other thing that may be in play here, too, is if you think back to last year and how bad the Panthers were in the preseason, and I'm not saying that affected their performance during the year, but, man, it's sure – when you were watching Bryce Young get sacked 6 times in the first quarter against the Jets in the first week of the preseason, it was sort of one of those things that maybe a little bit of shell shock potential. So I sort of wonder if part of it is preserving your healthy players, but also sort of preserving hey, we're not playing for anything here. These scores don't matter because the expectations are already so low that you don't want to kind of get everybody. I'm sort of reaching there, but I do. No.
I think an argument can be made, Will. I think an argument can be made that it doesn't matter at all, but I choose to be very consistent with this. So if it doesn't matter that you're not playing your starters, and again, I pointed out the Jets played like nobody of worth except for 2 guys. Will McDonald there?
Well, I would also say too, Adam. Sorry, but I think it matters too. The coaches nowadays they've started doing more of these you go to something like you practice with other teams.
Yeah, the joint practice. They got a lot out of that. And the Panthers looked really good against the Jets.
Right, but some coaches believe are now treating those team versus team practices as sort of the preseason, and then saying, all right, for the actual game, let's get the third string guys out there and worry about that. It really does vary just coach by coach. And I don't think there's a right answer. I don't think there's a wrong answer. The wrong answer is only when your guys get hurt.
Right.
Bo Nix is out there playing a ton of football for the Broncos, and it's they've been varying. I think he passes the eye test. I know there's some concerns about his footwork when he doesn't. He's much better throwing when he doesn't have to actually set his feet and sit in the pocket.
Right.
And that's a concern. But Sean Payton's going to coach him up and move him around and get him throws on the run. I thought, for the expectations, he's looked pretty good out there, and you have some hope. And also a real indictment on Russell Wilson, but he looks good. Bo Nix. But I do think that, in a case like that, where you have even though he's 42 now, because he was in college for 30 years, you have a kid who, in Bo Nix, that you want to give as much time as possible in his rookie preseason year. And so I think that stuff matters a lot too, which is why you can make the case, like, maybe the Panthers should have Bryce Young out there. Like, doesn't Bryce Young need as many reps as he can get?
Apparently not. And again, their joint practice with the Jets, by all accounts, the Panthers took it to him. Jets turned it over 5 times. Panthers scored a couple of touchdowns, 2 or 3 touchdowns, whatever it was. So they looked good in those sessions. Maybe that's enough because it doesn't look like they're going to play in the preseason. I've always talked about rookie quarterbacks as, man, you're just rolling the dice. But Bo Nix has looked good. I think Caleb Williams has looked good, what I've seen. Jaden Daniels, I haven't seen him yet, but everything I read coming out of Washington is that this kid is going to be their starter in week 1. J.J. McCarthy looked good until the injury. Small sample size, but he was making plays and good throws before the injury. Drake May, after a slow game 1, looked much better in game 2, and all 4 Patriots quarterbacks have played. And even Michael Penix has impressed people in Atlanta. What are the chances that all of these quarterbacks are good?
Very, very low. But I mean, I do think that you can make the case that at some point in the near future, whether it's 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, that we look back at this quarterback class and say, wow, it produced several viable starters. Again, we saw that in, sort of in, like in 2018, remember? It's like, which one of these quarterbacks is going to be bad between Baker Mayfield,
all of them,
Sam Darnold, Josh Allen? I mean, Allen ended up being
Allen's great. Yeah. Yeah,
Allen's great, and then Baker's better than people probably give him credit for. The thing with Caleb Williams, same sort of stuff with Bo Nix to a degree where, he's flashing incredible athleticism. And if Shane Waldron and that, they've got great, DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, who apparently weighs 335 pounds. And then Rome Odunze has looked great out there too.
Yeah.
They've got all the weapons in place where Caleb Williams can have a great rookie year. I do worry a little bit. He'd be available in some clean pockets to make these crazy athletic throws, which is, it's fine. You're a rookie. He's got the athleticism. He can do stuff that most human beings can't do. But from just working within the system, there are some concerns there. Daniels, Caleb Williams, and Bo Nix to me are stone cold locks to start week 1. Drake May, I thought Jacoby Brissett in the never-ending Jacoby Brissett goes around to various NFL teams and beats out the Carolina quarterback that's competing with him, Sam Howell and Drake May. In the never-ending quest to sweep the knee on UNC quarterbacks, Drake May's actually made up a lot of ground this last week.
Yeah,
he was better than Jacoby Brissett in that preseason game, and the buzz coming out of Patriots camp right now is that he's made significant strides. I really don't think the Patriots will start him week 1.
I don't think they will either.
The offensive line's bad. The skill position guys are bad. They don't have a whole lot there. It's an unproven offense, and I think they'll let Brissett be the sacrificial lamb. But if May plays like as well as he's played the last week or so up to the beginning of the season, fans and ownership are clamoring to see him sooner rather than later.
Yeah, look, final thing on this, and it brings us really back to kind of comparing where Drake May is to where the Panthers were with Bryce Young last year, in that May's in a very similar position as Bryce was in a year ago. The offensive line wasn't any good. He had nobody to throw to. He's got a brand new coaching staff. We have no idea what to expect from Gerard Mayo. And now they traded their best defensive player in Matthew Judon to Atlanta, so they're clearly in tank mode. So if you're the Patriots, your investment in Drake May when you picked him with the 3rd overall pick should tell you that, you know what, we don't want to get this guy hurt. He's got some things that he needs to kind of clean up in terms of his mechanics and his footwork. So let's let him take essentially a gap year and let him watch. We have Jacoby Brissett who can play. Looks like Joe Milton can get on the field too. So
Joe Milton can throw the ball far and run fast.
Right.
I don't think he's an incredible athlete awesome upside, like long shot. But I mean, I to me, the thing for the Patriots, so many times NFL teams, and the Panthers last year are a great example, are not willing to be aware of who they are and where they are in terms of the rebuild. The Panthers were picking 9th overall, and they thought with that roster and where they were that they were a quarterback away, and they went to go get Bryce Young. Now, look, the trade has happened. It's over. It's done with. It's a miserable, terrible trade by the Panthers. But the worst thing you can do as an NFL franchise is not realize where you are in your development stages. And the Patriots, by trading Matthew Judon, have to believe, you have to think, and by going with Jacoby Brissett, you have to see that they believe they're not there as a team that's going to try to compete right now.
Which is why they should not start Drake May. I would push back only as we have to say goodbye. I would push back. I don't believe that the Panthers thought they were just a quarterback away. I thought they believed that they couldn't do anything unless they had the quarterback, even though they were 3 years away from even if Bryce Young could have been great last year, they were still 2 more years away from being a legitimate contender. Will Brinson, my friend, we will talk to you again. I don't know, maybe next week. We're sneaking up on the season, sir.
Season's getting here. Talk to you soon, buddy.
All right, man. Will Brinson, at Will Brinson, senior NFL writer, CBSSports.com.